We have another bubble in the offing that's about to burst. Always remember, you heard it here first. The student loan bubble, the student loan scam, as some folks would call it, is about to burst. Now, one of the ways that the left in America has supported the left lean of the college professorate, and I happen to know this because I've worked with these folks for the last 30 years, the way it's been supported is by ever expanding the college student loan program, no matter how much the cost of college university education goes up. There is a bubble right now in the student loans, and you can see Obama playing to this. The Obama administration is trying to lure the Republican Party out into the deep water, and you won't cut the interest cost on the loans. Well, the Republicans tried to play hardball back, and they said no, we'll go ahead and do that. And then they turn around and say, but you've got to pay go. You got to pay as you go. You got to go ahead and tell us where you're going to pay for this with. And of course, they get suckered right back into the same thing. You want to take it away from women, the war on women, the war on this, the war on that. The student loan scam, in less than a decade, the student loan total amount of liability has gone from about 150 billion to almost $1 trillion. That's with a T, 1 trillion. And what we're looking at now is this movement, and at the heart of the Occupy Wall Street, at the heart of a number of things that President Obama and his agitator groups are calling for, is forgiveness of student loans. Now, with $1 trillion, and again, I know these numbers get grueling, and I know it gets old to have to go through the big numbers, but the federal debt of the United States is heading towards 16 trillion. 16 trillion. That's 16,000 billion. Okay? It's a huge number. Now, in addition to the federal debt, which is if you sum all of the yearly deficits into one figure, that's the U.S. federal debt. In addition to that, we have loan guarantees, and we have guaranteed loans. We have a whole series of other liabilities in a business sense. If you look at our spreadsheet, it isn't just the 16 trillion. It isn't just the promises for Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. It isn't just any one of these things. But when you're at the end of the day and you look at everything, we're about $220 trillion upside down here when you count in unfunded liability and the debts. There is a great editorial written by Michael Medved, who's also a film critic, and it's entitled The Student Loan Scam. Now, I urge you to go to Town Hall and read this, because what Mr. Medved does is lay out the numbers. It's very difficult talking to you on the video to get the numbers across, but just as an example, when we start talking about how we went from 100 billion to $1 trillion, in other words, a tenfold increase in student loans in about a decade, it is very, very difficult to get those numbers to make sense until and unless you start looking at the numbers in front of you. And you've got to understand something. The increase in the pay of the faculty and administrators is entirely based on what can be charged for tuition. And the upper limit on tuition is what the U.S. federal government will loan. And many of the people in the recruitment part of the college and the recruitment part of the university will outright lie to you and say, no, there's no relationship between the total amount of student loans and what we charge for tuition. Well, if there's no relationship, then why is it, if I would show you the two lines, they go up at exactly the same rate? Why is it they look to have the same slope? Why is it they seem to be almost exactly the same line? The upper limit on what can be charged for a college education is determined by what the purchaser of the education will pay. Now, if everybody paid cash money for their education, we wouldn't have any argument about this. But many people have to do loans. Local university that I do some teaching for here in this area is Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University. And ERAU has about a third of the students who can afford, because of their family status, to go and mom and dad write a check. About a third of the students are taking loans, and about a third of the students are involved in some kind of military support. They're ROTC, or they're getting GI Bill or whatever. If you look at what's going on at Riddle, you can see a very direct relationship between what the total amount of loans are that you can gain and what the amount that you are charged is. Now this, and by the way, I love Embry-Riddle. It is a great school. You want to become a pilot, you want to become an engineer, that's the place to go. They're one of the finest schools on this planet. But there is a direct relationship between the amount of loans you can get and the amount of tuition that will be charged to you. I urge you, go to Town Hall, look at Michael Medved's editorial on this, on the student loan scam, and you will be stunned by the numbers. Everything that President Obama touches is going into ruin. This is one more program that could be destroyed. God bless you. God bless the United States.